Yeah, hi there, and these comments are for Felix, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT, and you have sent me a whole bunch of emails. I'll be honest with you, this week is final exam week at California State University, San Bernardino, so I've had to address and score and administer all kinds of things this week, so I've been a little bit busy, but let's take a look. I'm going to take a look at some emails that you sent me. One you sent back on August 20, another one you sent on August 8th. Let's look at the one on August 8th first of all. So you say, after doing practice tests 1 through 4, I've now realized I have problems in managing my time. To me, 45 seconds, I'm going to say, is not enough time to give details, examples, and conclusion. I know what I have to speak, but I don't have enough time. Do you have advices? Yes, the advice here is to limit your focus. For example, if somebody says, is it better to study in a group or to study individually, and then you have to answer that question, you might say, well, I prefer to study individually because I can learn the information much better. Maybe that's it. And then you give maybe 2 or 3 reasons why you think studying individually helped you to learn that information. So if you tried to give 2 or 3 reasons, however, you would not have enough time to really develop your response. So in order to have good examples and details to help support what you're trying to say, my best advice here is to limit your focus. That's why you're posting responses at my Voxy Pop discussion group. You're trying to get an idea on how much you can say. And then you have to adjust and focus your ideas accordingly. So my best advice here is to limit your focus. So right now, if you're mentioning 2 or 3 reasons about something, and you're spending 60 to 90 seconds to answer it, you may have to go down to just 1 reason. And then make sure you give enough examples for that one idea, and that you're also speaking for the full 45 seconds. All right, let's go to your next email. Your next email says, listening, note-taking questions. So let's take a look at this. You say, I want to ask you how to make my notes more concise but still understandable. I mean, my writings are not as fast as the speakers in the listening passages. I need some methods on how to take brief notes. I've learned your symbols from your videos about note-taking, but somehow it didn't work well on me. I need to catch as much information from the lecture. Since Americans are very fast and need a lot of practice, I need your help with this one. The main thing is to practice, to continue practicing, and as you practice listening to the lectures, Felix, in my online TOEFL course, you'll get better and better at getting down the main and the most important supporting points, I think, of those passages. So, you've already watched the video. You know some of the information in there. Now it's up to you now to develop a note-taking system that works for you. Now, the one note-taking system that will never work is called the sentence method level of note-taking. That means you simply try to write full sentences about what you hear in the lecture, but that's not going to work because you don't have enough time. Remember what I said in the video? Speakers can speak 150 words a minute, but typically in terms of notes, you can only jot down about 30 words a minute. So you have to be very brief and very concise about what you say. So that's what I would say to that particular question. All right, the next question that you have here, if I am looking at it correctly, one talks about the Cornell method of note-taking, which is similar to the last email. It says, I've seen your website and the PDF about note-taking tips from the Cornell method. However, I still don't understand how to use this method properly. So can you give me an example so I can understand how to use this note-taking method? The note-taking method probably, it's better not for the TOEFL, but for university study. The main thing is you take a sheet of paper. See if I can give you an idea here. So let's take a sheet of paper here. This is just a small paper to demonstrate. So you'll have margins on both sides, something like this. You see this, Felix? So then you're going to fold the paper 2 ways. Something like this. You'll fold the paper 2 ways now, and on these margin areas, this is where you'll make some notes later on. You can make questions and things about the lectures, but beginning with the Cornell method, you want to try to get down in the middle here the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages, and then later on, you can add questions and information to the left or to the right on your paper. You see what I'm saying? So the main thing for TOEFL is right now you want to make sure that you are practicing listening passages like I recommended probably when you join my course. Okay, hold on a minute, Felix. So you want to make sure that you stay in the habit of regularly taking notes on those listening passages. Now, as you do this, in the beginning when you're doing your note-taking practice, Felix, your notes will not be complete, they'll not be accurate, but the more you practice, you'll be surprised. Eventually, you will be able to develop a system of note-taking that works for you. So part of the purpose of going through my listening lessons is to get you acquainted with different types of methods of note-taking so you can become familiar with them. And as you do your own practice with listening and also with note-taking, gradually, slowly, you will begin to develop a system that works for you. Okay, let's go to the next one. You have a one that's called Felix. It says speaking questions. You said, I found this topic difficult for me in the speaking. If you were given a topic like this, how would you respond to it? And the question is, explain the most difficult moment in your life that you have ever faced and who helped you to get out of this problem. You say, what makes it hard is to choose the moment. So 15 seconds of preparation is not enough time to find a moment like that because I don't know what to say, so can you help me? So the main thing is, with this one, Felix, is hopefully you will not get asked this kind of question because I agree with you, it's difficult. But you have to think about an event, something which has happened to you, which is difficult. So then you have to kind of think about different events in your life, and with each event, what would be a moment within that event that was difficult for you? So maybe you might talk about breaking up with your girlfriend, for example. And instead of talking about the whole relationship, you can simply discuss when you had to call her on the phone or talk to her in person, and when you told her that you guys were breaking up. So you have to kind of focus a smaller part of some bigger idea. And then you have to say, well, who helped you to get out of the problem or helped you solve the problem? Then you have to talk about a friend, a family member, somebody else who gave you some advice, and then how that helped you when you were getting out of this difficult moment. Right? So I agree with you. That is certainly a difficult question. Now, what you're doing right now, and I think you've been doing this pretty much every day, is you're going to my website to the speaking section of my course, and you know I've posted over 300 independent speaking topics that are in my course today. So what you want to do is keep going through those practice tests. What I recommend, my basic rule is to do one speaking practice test at my 7-step system Voxipop group, right? But you can also post each day other practice tests at my Better TOEFL Scores Talk group. So each day, if you practice 6 or 7 different topics, one you post for me to grade, and then the other 6, for example, you post over at the other website, that's giving you some valuable practice on how to organize and develop responses, and it gets you used to the kinds of questions that you'll be asked on the TOEFL IBT exam, right? So that would be some of my advice there. Keep practicing. You will get better and better at being able to, number one, identify, and you will what's called decode the speaking task, and then develop an organized response to it. Okay, let's keep going. You have one more here. Integrated writing task number 36. And you said here you got 25 out of 30 with integrated writing task number 36. It is difficult. This one's difficult because the lecture itself is not very organized. You say, I don't think I deserve that score because I didn't catch the whole information from the listening. Sorry. Can you grade this response for me? Just grade it. Only give the score just this one. I want to see whether I deserve it or not. I don't think I deserve to get 25 for this one. Your staff gave it 25. Does your staff truly grade me carefully with the rubrics and the reading listening scripts? Yes, they do. Luis Mena is my teaching assistant, and believe it or not, he's actually pretty accurate. And a lot of the scores that you're getting, that's probably pretty close to what will happen when you take the TOEFL IBT exam. So, Felix, I took a look at your response, and I'll make a slight adjustment on it. He might have scored a little high on it, but there's always a margin of error, and no two readers typically will exactly agree on it. Now, I think for the most part, you had a fairly complete response. You might have missed maybe 1 or 2 key ideas. You also had some language use issues. Sometimes you might not be using exactly the right word. You might not be using exactly the right punctuation. So if I adjust it down, I probably wouldn't adjust it any lower than 3.75 out of 5, which is going to put you at about 24 points. So I think the score is pretty accurate. You're probably looking at getting anywhere from 24 to 25 points on this particular speaking task. Alrighty. Anyway, thank you very much. I apologize for taking time to get back to you. I was simply swamped. But in this video, as you know, I just went through all of your emails, and to the best of my ability, I answered all your questions. And keep up the good work. And by the way, I noticed that you did make some very good changes with your intonation on one of your most recent independent speaking practice tests.